The ancient Meteoric Ore Greatsword is the strangest colossal sword in the game. Even the way you get this weapon is unlike anything else in the DLC or base game. Oddities aside, this is a great weapon to try for a colossal sword playthrough, unlike any you've tried before. To get this weapon, head to the ruined forge of Starfall Past. In the dungeon, you'll find gates operated by levers. At the second gate, pull the lever after it and hop on top of the gate before it rises back up. Head over to the furnace on this level and it'll give you the ancient Meteoric Ore Greatsword by interacting with it. The moveset of this ancient enormous arrowhead is quite enjoyable. We have some sweeping attacks for our R1s, and strong thrusting attacks for both our charged heavy attacks and our rolling R1s. As someone who has used this Y-hander in multiple runs prior to this moveset made me feel right at home. The Ash of War is where things get crazy on this weapon. White Light Charge is a two-part Ash of War. The first button press has you charge forward into whatever you're locked onto. We have had ashes before, such as Impaling Thrust, Piercing Fang, and Giant's Hunt that can bring you forward quickly. The range on White Light Charge is much greater than these three, giving you the chance to stay further from the enemy if that suits you. The second part of the Ash of War is where most of the damage comes from. After the charge, press the Ash of War button again to release a massive explosion into your target. Not only does this have most of the damage, but it has significantly more knockback power than the charge. Melania, Renala, and every NPC enemy in the game will be knocked down by it. Also, the mounted bosses, such as Draconic Tree Sentinel and Loretta, will be stunned from the explosion, resetting the tempo of the fight. The scaling is entirely unique to this weapon. With a B scaling in strength and a D scaling in arcane, you would think that this is a pure physical weapon, or a fire and physical weapon like the Mogwin Sacred Spear. Turns out this is a physical and magic weapon. We've seen something like this before, the Sword of Night being a dex scaling weapon that also has magical damage, but the scaling may be a bit misleading too. Strength scales to B, sure, but it really falls off after that soft cap of 80. I found the best approach to AR maximization is to level strength to 54, two-hand the weapon, and place all my remaining points into arcane. This fittingly turned out to be 54 in both strength and arcane, giving the stats a cool symmetry. There are three main avenues we can take in choosing a playstyle. We can focus on the thrusting moveset of the weapon, we can pump points into mind and take advantage of White Light Charge, or we can do a mix of both. As an enjoyer of the Colossal Sword moveset and cool new DLC Ashes of War, I went with option 3. For most fights, we can use a healthy mixture of both the moveset and the Ash of War. There are some fights, most notably in the DLC, that it would be best to focus on the moveset for, and every NPC fight in the game can be made borderline trivial with the use of White Light Charge. Before we get into talismans and stats, I'd like to mention that my 15-year YouTube anniversary is coming up, and I'll be making the yearly anniversary video next week. So if anyone has questions about the build videos, or the channel in general that would like answered, be sure to let me know in the comments below. For our talismans, I had on the Dragon Crest Great Shield to tank a hit or two while swinging around this massive sword, the two-handed sword talisman for more damage with our moveset, the axe talisman for additional damage with our fully charged R2, and finally the Shard of Alexander to buff White Light Charge. In our physique flask, I had the Opaline Hard tier for 15% more damage negation for 3 minutes. In the fights I was comfortable with, I had the Bloodsucking Crack tier for 20% more damage at the cost of health drain. If not, I had on the Crimson Burst Crystal tier for a bit of health regeneration. Our stats at RL 170 were 60 Vigor, 15 Mind, 35 Endurance, 54 Strength, at least 10 Dexterity to use the weapon, and 54 Arcane. The ancient Meteoric Ore Greatsword is weird, but we can capitalize on this by making a weapon with strange scaling and an explosive Ash of War work very well for us.